Hey, what's going on, Gemini? It's your boy MTownTarot here to do your general reading for the next 30 days. I appreciate you all's patience, and please forgive me for not being able to deliver readings on last month. It seems like after that Mercury retrograde, things just kind of were thrown off, but nevertheless, I am here to do your reading. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Jump right in. Spirit and guides, we welcome you into this reading for Gemini. Please give us the most relevant messages and advice for Gemini for the next 30 days in the perfect way under grace. And we thank you in advance. All right, so I got some new tarot cards. They are called the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. So this is my first time actually doing a reading with them. I just been kind of spending some time with them. So I'm going to try them out, Gemini, and see what we can get. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you all enjoyed your Gemini season. All right. So we're going to do a Celtic cross. The first thing we're going to check for is the present energies around Gemini. What are the present current energies around Gemini at this time? All right. We have Temperance. Temperance is Sagittarius energy. With Temperance, that is finding balance, that's taking and transmuting energy. Let's say that you had some type of negative experience, or let's say you grew up maybe with, and this is just for an example, and it may resonate or may not resonate with some others. Let's say you grew up in an abusive household, and for a while that kind of held you back, kind of made you be the victim, or take on this victim type of mentality. But with Temperance, you're able to take that, look at it in a new way, and transmute that energy to a way that serves you. So maybe now you advocate for people who are victims of abuse, or you use that to empower you. Instead of saying, well, why did this happen to me? You kind of look at it as, man, I'm strong. I went through that. Look at my tenacity. So Temperance is kind of like that. Now, what is the immediate challenge for Gemini? What is Gemini's immediate challenge? The Ten of Swords. So some of you are experiencing some type of ending. The Ten of Swords, or the number 10 rather, represents ending. Swords are usually words. Those are usually thoughts, thought patterns, actions. So some of you are exhausted, maybe with the way that you were perceiving things, maybe your thought patterns, things of that nature. Maybe some of you, your thoughts are exhausting you and you're tired, and now you're at a point to where you're trying to kind of like find some type of balance in those thoughts. But the good thing about the Ten of Swords is the worst is over. So that's that. You can find any solace in that. It's good to know that the worst is over, and whenever there are endings, there's always new beginnings. So what's in the distant past for Gemini? Distant past for Gemini. We have the King of Swords, and that's pretty much your energy. Some of you may have had to give some straight, clear, cut communication to someone. That communication may have not been something that they necessarily wanted to hear. It may not be, may have not been packaged in a sweet, loving tone, but it was definitely something that needed to be shared. In the past, also, you guys could have felt more in your power. And now, especially with this Ten of Swords and you trying to find Temperance, you're kind of trying to get back to that sense of self where you felt clear, where you knew what you wanted, and you made, beeline, straight actions, towards that. For others, maybe some of you may have received some very clear, piercing information that drove you into like this mental space that kind of exhausted you, wore you out, and now you're trying to kind of regroup and reboot from that. So I'm gonna adjust the cards a little bit because they are kind of big. All right. So what happened in the recent past for Gemini? What happened in the recent past for Gemini? Princess of Swords. So some of you could have been dealing with a younger earth sign. Some of you may have children or a daughter maybe that's in school, and you had concerns about that. Or possibly in the past, where you were in the distant past able to communicate. I can't talk right now. Speaking of communicate, you were able to communicate clearly convey your thoughts. You knew what you wanted. You would go after it. And lately, you've kind of been in your head because princesses are usually about the inner person. And so with this princess, maybe you were feeling that either you were dealing with someone who wasn't communicating, on the level in which you communicated, or you could have felt that you were your sense of like communication, especially during Mercury retrograde, which I think was in Gemini. Your thinking patterns are usually way of speaking and things like that. Maybe you were a little bit more immature than you would usually be. And again, because of all of that, that could be what is driving you into your mind's mental space and what's exhausting you. Now, what is the best outcome for this situation for Gemini? What's the best outcome in this situation for Gemini? The Four of Wands. So the Four of Wands is my marriage card. So if this is a love situation where maybe the communication wasn't so well, maybe there was some harsh, true reality that came when it comes to communication with each other. Maybe one person is a good communicator, maybe the other person is not. But either way, it looks that the best outcome for this situation is marriage. When I see the Four of Wands, that's action that both parties would put in equal action. Four of Wands also represents for me a house. The number 4 represents stability. So I do see that the best outcome for this situation is a stable, solid, committed, balanced type of foundation. And that's whether this is in love, finances, career, or whatever. And so that's really good, exciting news that, although right now you probably feel exhausted and trying to find some balance. And as I mentioned earlier, the worst is over. The best outcome is there's a possibility that, this is going to be really stable. And if it's love, it's a possibility that marriage is in the cards for you. So what's in the immediate future for Gemini? What's in the immediate future for Gemini? Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is usually a card of deception. When I did the Pisces reading, they got Seven of Swords as well. I'm kind of picking up on the same energy that I felt in the Pisces reading, where it wasn't necessarily someone deceiving you, but it could necessarily be because you're air sign and swords represent, our air signs. And so I'm seeing a lot of mental activity here. So just make sure with the Seven of Swords, what kind of speaks of deception, that you are communicating clearly how you feel. If something is not working for you, you don't like it, don't go along just to get along. Speak your truth, because if not, you will be deceiving yourself of what you want and deceiving yourself out of this opportunity for stability. Now, for others, there could be a possibility, because as I mentioned earlier, there was some strict communication, strong communication, and there could possibly be someone in your area or in your energy that is possibly not telling all of the truth, that could possibly be deceptive, could possibly be lying. As you notice, this person has their finger crossed and their thoughts and actions hidden behind their back. And with foxes, foxes are very clever. So you could be dealing with someone who could possibly be in cahoots with someone, trying to deceive you. Take it if it resonates. All right, what factors are affecting this situation? What factors are affecting this situation for Gemini? 10 of Wands. So that's 2 10s. So you're definitely coming to the ending of something. With the 10 of Wands, that is even being exhausted when it comes to action. So let's say if this is a love situation, whatever communication happened or lack thereof, it almost feels that someone was trying to, of course, someone got in your head, maybe you, Gemini, and maybe you tried to overcompensate with your actions because of maybe your ability not to be able to communicate as you usually do, or maybe you were going through a period, as I mentioned, where you used to be a very strong communicator, but you went through a period where you didn't communicate as much. So maybe you tried to compensate more in action. But with the 10 of Wands, that is kind of, being exhausted when it comes, or too many burdens, needing to put the burdens down at this time. So, what I'm picking up energetically is, especially with these 10s, is there's a new dawn that's arising, but you may have to put down your burdens, whether that's an action, and put down your burdens in the mental space so that you can make room for this stability to come in. Because a lot of times with our thoughts and actions, we can keep trying to do stuff to make sure it works out, and what we're doing is actually making situations worse, pushing people further away. Just leave a little room, for grace and mercy. What is his name? Dunham McClurkin. After you've done all you can, just stand. Message. All right, so what external influences are affecting Gemini? What external influences? So these are influences outside of yourself. The Prince of Swords. So we got a princess and we got a Prince of Swords here. So again, some of you may be dealing with a younger air sign, of course, which is Gemini. That's Libra. That's also Aquarius as well. Maybe at this time, if this is like a love partnership, or even maybe like a job or something like that, there's not a lot of communication, and the communication that you're probably getting is probably very short. So I'm going to put this in a love example. So let's say you are in a partnership. As I mentioned already, there was some brash communication and some lack thereof communication. So maybe now you are starting to communicate, but it's like 1, 2, 3, word text. So let's say, for some reason, as I mentioned, maybe you kind of weren't communicating the way you were. You tried to overcompensate in actions, and now you're feeling exhausted. And maybe the other person is feeling some type of way because of your lack of communication. And now that when you do try to reach out to them and say, hey, how's your day going at work? They may, when they used to be like, oh, baby, it's going good. My boss came in and said this, that, and the third. Maybe now it's fine. So there's not a lot of communication. Or for others, there's going to be there's too much communication, like swift, fast, but not necessarily thought out. Maybe just you ever talk to someone and it's just you're on the phone, but it's a bunch of like empty words and empty type of conversation, nothing of substance. So that's kind of the vibe or the energy I'm getting. I hope this stuff makes sense to you all. All right, so what are Gemini's hopes and fears? What are Gemini's hopes and fears? So your hopes and fears is that you have a brand new opportunity when it comes to emotional fulfillment. And this could be, again, love, or this could be finance. And I'm really feeling energetically a love vibe. So what you're wanting is a new beginning when it comes to love, or whatever, this situation is. Now, with the Ace of Cups, there's a lot of potential here, but it's untapped and it can go either way. But it just depends on the efforts that you put in there, but definitely the potential here. And because this fell in your hopes and fears, some of you are hoping for a new opportunity to start over. And some of you are kind of feeling that, it's just a little bit far too gone for you all to even have this new beginning or fresh start together. And what is the final outcome for our Gemini brothers and sisters? Let's see. Final outcome. Prince of Wands. So there will be, some of you may, meet someone else, and that person may be a fire sign, but there's going to be a lot of passion. There's going to be a lot of great sex. My Prince of Wands is like the little stick card, So there may be a lot of passion, beginnings when it comes to this fresh start. Again, we have the Four of Wands here indicating that the best outcome is stability, is marriage. And I do see where there's going to be a lot of passion, a lot of fire. Again, as I mentioned, it was a breakdown in communication. You're exhausted right now. You're exhausted physically. You're also exhausted mentally. But all of this breakdown, I'm feeling energetically, almost happened because maybe both of you, or maybe you, if this is a work situation, were probably too much in your head, too much operating out of ego. And this breakdown was meant so that, you can kind of be a little bit vulnerable. That person can be a little bit vulnerable because after a breakup, sometimes, you have to sit down, and especially if you care about the person and you reconcile, and you kind of become vulnerable, and that kind of opens up the door for you to be able to communicate how you feel, they feel, and I feel that that's going to ignite a lot of passion. This Prince of Wands is sitting on a rising phoenix, and of course, the phoenix always rises from the ashes. So whatever this situation is, the worst is over. Leave room for grace and mercy, and you're going to get to that celebration. So let's get you I want to do some romance angels because I'm feeling like for some of you, this was love. And we will, of course, get you a love reading a little later on in the month. All right, let's get about 3 romance angels for our Geminis. What romance angels? Got soulmate, so some of you are dealing with your soulmate. It says, yes, this is your soulmate. So sometimes with soulmates, they trigger things in us that we need to heal for. It's not going to always be heal from, I'm sorry. It's not always going to be, rainbows and riding off in the sunset. If it's a real, true, solid relationship, sometimes you're going to bring out the worst in each other, but it's only to use that temperance to transmute that energy so that you can be the best person that you can be, so that you can grow. Honeymoon. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. So some of you may take a trip or a vacation or something like that, and that may start the conversation, that may reignite this passion and start this, bring this opportunity for a fresh start. And again, 4 of Wands is married, and you got honeymoon, and you got soulmate. Invite me, Gemini. All right, let's get you one more. Let your friends help you. Ask for and accept support from others. So again, some of you may be very independent, kind of in your head, trying to do everything on your own. But it does not say that you're weak if you go and get advice from someone. Find you can talk to. For some of you, this is advice, this is therapy, this is counseling. Maybe you have someone that can read for you personally, a counsel, maybe talk to a teacher or just a friend that you can trust that will give you an opinion that is not biased, won't take sides. And I want to get you some advice. So let's get Gemini some advice from Spirit as it relates to this situation and the next 30 days. Spirit, give us advice for our Geminis, brothers and sisters, on this situation and for the next 30 days. The Tower. So there is change coming. And again, you remember how it's just amazing how these cards and stuff and how Spirit works. You remember earlier I told you energetically I felt that since you were at the end, if you would just surrender, leave room for grace and mercy, it'll all work out. What the universe is saying is if you don't, it's going to do it for you. It's going to strike down everything. And, you may or may not like it, but the end result is going to be a solid, firm foundation for your highest good. So the way you used to do things, the way you used to operate, you just cannot do it anymore. And if you continue to try to do that, and sorry if I sound like I'm fussing, Gemini. I love Geminis. Some of my best friends are Geminis. Some of my favorite people to talk to and bounce ideas are Geminis. But if you don't listen, Gemini, then that Tower comes, okay? All right, but again, it's always for your highest good. I got 2 that jump. 4 of Swords. That's about taking some rest. Relax. Let go of control. Let go of the steering wheel. I don't know if any of you all are Christian. You don't have to be, but there's a scripture that says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And I mean, just even in the natural sense, seems like if you have a headache or a cold or worried about something, sometimes just getting rest and waking up the next morning, you feel better. So definitely rest. And I think when you rest, you will start to get insight and you will start to see how things just kind of unfold on their own without you even have to do anything. And 9 of Wands. Remember earlier you got the 10 of Wands where you feel as if like you are just exhausted, have nothing else left. Well, I'm showing where you got one more spark within you. You got one more. And whenever this, if you get a getaway, you guys get somewhere to relax or something like that. Whenever you do have the opportunity to communicate, it feels like it's going to go from hardly no communication to swift, fast, quick communication. And you're going to see that you do have enough, you do have a little bit more in you to continue, because 9 of Wands is about almost at the end, but you still got some fire left. And I think that fire is going to get with whomever you're with fire. And then that's when that Phoenix is going to rise, and that good Prince of Wands, sex, and that passionate beginning that's going to lead to weddings and honeymoons. All right, so let's get some Rebel decks just to leave it on a fun note. If it did resonate with you, please like, comment, subscribe, share. You can do all of that for free. You are being shady. Watch out, shit could get ugly. So again, careful with that communication. Careful with that ego. You don't want to, miss out on an opportunity. Ask a fucking expert, man. It's the cards for me. Then I say something about, possibly communicating or reaching out with someone. Don't rely on your friends or the internet. Listen to a damn professional. So again, if it's something, when I mentioned earlier, where Let's say you were someone who were abused as a child. You may need to seek professional counseling or a therapist or spiritual person to help walk you through or give you tools that you need to be able to transmute that energy so that you can get into flow and enjoy this new fresh beginning. Let's get you one more. Stop obsessing. You are not the fucking center of the universe. So again, I have about 4 planets, which is considered like a stellium in Gemini, even though I'm a Pisces. So I understand Geminis a lot. There are times where you can get caught on a thought and it takes you in this loop. And you can stay on this loop, and sometimes you get so far out there that you can't wheel yourself back in. Rest. You know, it's not all about you. Especially in a partnership, we all have our own desires. You and your person has desires. The universe has a call and purpose for you, and it has a call and a purpose for them. And what you should do instead of, and not just you, what you should do, I'm like tell people what they should do, but all of us, what we should do is kind of look at that person's life and purpose and their desires, our purpose, our life and our desires, and see if those are compatible and see if there's a way that we can mesh those together, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna end the reading right there, Gemini. I appreciate you all. And again, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, take care.